Hi class, it's Mrs. Perrone and we are on page 21 of your shiny math book. We're going to solve problems on the previous page by writing them as addition problems. So what's the same about all of the expressions on the previous page? Well, if we go back to the previous page, what is the same about all of these expressions? And what I see in all of them is that their main operator here is subtraction. So what's the same about all of the expressions on the previous page? They involve subtraction. And what do you need to write a subtraction? What do you need to do to write a subtraction expression as an addition expression? Well, we've been talking about that three-step process. So number one is leave the first number alone. Second thing we do is change subtraction to addition. And the third thing we do is change the sign of the second number. And you'll notice I used some abbreviations here, like a number symbol for number, and then minus sign in parentheses for subtraction, plus sign in parentheses for addition. You can feel free to use those same abbreviations to save you a little time. Write 2 minus 3 as an addition expression and then simplify the expression. So simplify the expression just means crunch the numbers down to a single number. So 2 minus 3, if we were to rewrite that as an addition expression using the 3 steps up here, would be 2, leave the first number the same, change the subtraction to addition, and then change the sign of the second number. So positive 3 becomes negative 3. And 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. In the next example, same thing. We're going to follow the three-step process. We're going to leave the first number alone. We're going to change the subtraction to addition. And we're going to change the sign of the second number. So negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. And in our third example, same thing. Follow the three-step process. Leave the first number the same. Change subtraction to addition, and change the sign of the second number. So then simplify it. Negative 1 plus 7, that's like 7 minus 1, which is 6. And you should notice those are the same three values we got on the previous page when we solved them using movement on a number line. So who has the slip of paper with the greatest value, and what is that value? Let's see. The person with the expression negative 1 minus negative 7 was Tess. So Tess was the one with the highest number, and that number was positive 6. Number 14, compare the expressions on Mark's slip and Tess's slip. Let's do that first. So Mark's slip said, we'll put Mark's slip said negative 7 minus negative 4, and Tess's slip said negative 1 minus negative 7. So those are the expressions that we're looking at. When one negative number is subtracted from another negative number, which is what's happening here and here, when is the answer positive? So in this case, negative 7 minus negative 4 is negative 3, and negative 1 minus negative 7 is positive 6. So the question is asking, if we're subtracting one negative number from another negative number, when is the outcome negative and when is the outcome positive? Or more specifically, when is the answer positive, like in this one? So what I see here is the second number. If you ignore all the signs, the second number on Tess's sheet of paper, on Tess's little slip of paper, is 7, which is bigger than the 1. So if this number here is bigger than this number here, ignoring the signs, just looking at it like 7 and 1, if the second number is bigger, then the outcome is going to be positive. Because remember, we would rewrite that as negative 1 plus 7. And so we'd be at -1 on a number line, head 7 units to the right, we would pass 0 and be well into the positives. So if I had to put some words to this, we could say it's going to come out positive if the absolute value of the second number is bigger than the absolute value of the first. So let's put some words to that. It will be positive if the absolute value of the second number is greater than the absolute value of the first. So we're going to use what we just learned to solve these problems. We're going to show our work on a separate sheet of paper. Well, I'm going to show my work on this sheet of paper. If you need a second sheet of paper, go ahead and grab one. Jerry and Jane play a trivia game. Jerry's score is -17 and Jane's score is -24. What is the difference between Jerry's score and Jane's score? So here we have a super important keyword, and that is the word difference. So difference implies subtraction. So if we want to know the difference between Jerry's score and Jane's score, we need to write a subtraction expression. So the difference between Jerry's score and Jane's score would be -17 minus -24. So that's Jerry's score minus Jane's score. That's the difference of Jerry's score and Jane's score. So we can use our three-step process to rewrite this using subtraction. We'll leave that first number alone, change subtraction to addition, and change the sign of the second number. So now we got to figure out what is -17 plus 24. If you flip those around, you could write it like 24 plus -17, which I know is the same as 24 minus 17. So any one of those three ways, whichever one is easier for you to think about it that way. 24 minus 17 is 7. So the difference between Jerry's score and Jane's score is 7. And the last problem, the table shows the highest and lowest elevations in Louisiana. What is the difference, there's that keyword again, between the elevations? So if we want to know the difference, in other words, if we were to draw a little picture, we have a mountain, Mount Driscoll. So we have a mountain in Louisiana, and then let's say this is like sea level. We have a mountain that up here is 535 feet, and then we have New Orleans, which down here is 8 feet below sea level. So the question is, what is the difference between the elevations? So difference again means that we're going to be writing a subtraction expression. And so we are going to do 535 minus -8. So the difference between those two just means that you subtract them, and don't confuse that negative sign in the 8 with the subtraction sign. You need both. So minus means difference, and then -8 is just this value right here. So we're going to use our three-step process, leave the first number the same, change subtraction to addition, and change the sign of the second number. 535 plus 8 is 543. So the difference between those two elevations is 543 feet. In other words, if you were to take a straight line, here's 535 and here's -8, draw a straight line, the distance between those two would be 543 feet. Thanks for watching. See you in class.